الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الذين آمنوا والذين هادوا والنصارى والصابئين من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر وعمل صالحا فلهم أجرهم عند ربهم ولا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون صدق الله العظيم. Regarding ayat number 62 of Surat Al-Baqarah, we already went over the sabab al-nuzul or shan al-nuzul related to this ayah, which was an actual explanation given to Sayyidina Salman al-Farisi radiyallahu anhu regarding the case of the monks that he had studied under, some of his shuyukh throughout his life, that they waited in anticipation to meet Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but they passed away before the mission of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam began. For those nations of the past, before the coming of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it should be made very clear that the Anbiya alayhimus salam, the prophets and messengers, they were Muslim, they believed in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and they submitted to Him. This term Islam, which generally we translate as submission, but also security and harmony, peace. It is that system, that way of life that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made for His creation. It is not specific to human beings only, but to the whole of creation, the heavens and the earth, and all of the creations that exist within the heavens and the earth. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the heavens and the earth, we're told in the Quran the various stages through which this earth was created, the various stages through which the heavens were created. But in all of that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told the heavens and the earth, "I'tiya taw'an aw karha." You have to come to me whether you do it willingly or unwillingly. Whether you want to or you don't want to, you have to submit to me. قَالَتْ آتَيْنَا طَائِعِينَ. The heavens and the earth and the creations within them, all of them said that, "O Allah, we submit ourselves to you and we come to you willingly." Everything in this universe, you can say in a sense, is Muslim. They have submitted to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So much so that even the various creations around us, they do the tasbih and tahmeed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they also have their own system of salah. We're told in Surah Al-Isra or Bani Israel, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, تُسَبِّحُ لَهُ السَّمَاوَاتُ السَّبْعُ وَالْأَرْضُ وَمَنْ فِيهِنْ. That the seven heavens and the earth and everything within them, they glorify the praises of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَإِن مِّن شَيْءٍ إِلَّا يُسَبِّحُ بِحَمْدِهِ وَلَكِنْ لَا تَفْقَهُونَ تَسْبِيحَهُمْ. Every creature that there is, every creation that there is, It glorifies Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It does tasbih. It says subhanallah. Even though you may not understand their tasbih. In another surah, Surah An-Nur, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, كُلٌّ قَدْ عَلِمَ صَلَاتَهُ وَتَسْبِيحَهُ. Every single creature, every single creation, they know their own salah and they know their own tasbih. The whole creation. It worships Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But what is unique is that tasbih is mentioned for the creations of the heavens and the earth. Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salam, when he was passing away, before he passed away, we're told in the hadith that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam has told us that Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salam, before he was passed away, he called his sons. And he told his sons that I instruct you 4 things. 2 of them I warn you against. Be careful of them, stay away from them. And 2 of them I'm advising you that you stick to them, keep them in your life. And practice them very, very urgently. Keep them as part of your daily life. Never miss them, never give them up. He said, as for the 2 things that I warn you against, that be very careful and do not fall into them. One is shirk. Never associate partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't ever compromise your deen. And the second you should stay away from and be very careful about is arrogance. Never think you're better than others and think that you should be given special privilege. And you have this puff of air that you think you're better than everyone. Very, very destructive. He said, as for the 2 things that I advise you, which I command you to hold very strongly to. One is frequent dhikr of the kalima La ilaha illallah. This kalima in weight and in value is more than that of the heavens and the earth. And when someone says this kalima goes directly to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is immediately accepted. And even if the heavens and the earth were to try to become an obstacle to stop this kalima from reaching Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this kalima would break right through and reach Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, the second thing I advise you is that you do dhikr of subhanallah al-azim wa bihamdihi. It's a special tasbih. He said, do dhikr of this, subhanallah al-azim wa bihamdihi. Because this is the tasbih of all of creation in the heavens and the earth. And through the barakah of this tasbih, through the blessings of this tasbih, the whole creation receives its sustenance, its rizq. Hint, this is one of those that if you want to become wealthy. So you also memorize this and use this. And you can remove it from the recording later. We might get in trouble. People say this is secret. But this is the tasbih, subhanallah al-azim wa bihamdihi. Implement this into your life, the tasbih of the heavens and the earth. So the whole of creation has accepted Islam, submitted to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They have their own time for salah. They have their own time for tasbih. We may not understand it. وَلَكِنْ لَا تَفْقَهُونَ تَسْبِيحَهُمْ. You don't understand their tasbih. Some of them are very, very beautiful. Amongst them is the mantiq at-tayr, the language of the birds. Unfortunately, in the morning, we're so busy that we can't even stop to drink coffee. We have to grab it and jump in our cars. So we don't have time to sit down and listen to the mantiq at-tayr, how the birds praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's amazing how some of these creations are. When they wake up, first thing they do, tasbih of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They pray their salah. Very, very punctual, very, very particular. You never find them late. They wake up before sunrise. They have their tasbih. Beautiful tasbih is going on. At that time, right around the tahajjud time, right after tahajjud, fajr time, you step outside, you hear the birds. They're doing tasbih of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they know their own salah. This is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has also made salah fardana, especially the fajr salah. At least we can do is at least beat the animals to their ibadah. But all of the creation, they have submitted to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are Muslim. There's only one deen, one religion in the whole universe. That is submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When Adam alayhi salam was created, he was a Muslim. All of the Anbiya alayhi salam, every single prophet, every single messenger, they submitted to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even if the followers of that prophet may say otherwise, their own scriptures tell a different story. Even in the Bible, you can open. Even they say very clearly in the Bible, Jesus himself in multiple places says, I submit myself to Father in heaven. Clearly telling them, I am Muslim. This is not me saying, their own verses say. I met with one priest and he was going on about how Christianity is better. I said, yes, there's a verse in the Bible that says, Jesus said, I submit myself to Father in heaven. He said, yes, verse number this, and they have their own. And he quoted 4 or 5 places in the Bible. I said, do you know what Islam means? He said, no, that's a submission to Allah. I said, your own Jesus is telling you that he was Muslim. He wasn't Christian. He didn't have an answer. Don't try it. Don't debate with him. I'm just telling you. So even their own, the Anbiya alayhi salam were open Muslim. They didn't hide it. Later on, yes, their followers, they changed the teachings and they made their own adyan, their own religions. And they persecuted anyone who really followed that Nabi and that messenger. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Surah As-Saf, related to the advice that Musa alayhi salam gave to his qawm, and Isa alayhi salam gave to his qawm. And Musa alayhi salam, he told his qawm to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he told them that a messenger is coming after me. And if he comes, you follow him. And Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, he also told his qawm, his nation, that there is a messenger, a prophet that is coming after me, مُصَدِّقًا لِمَا بَيْنَ يَدَيْكَ. He's going to confirm whatever revelation you have with you. وَمُبَشِّرًا بِرَسُولٍ يَأْتِي مِن بَعْدِ اسْمُهُ أَحْمَدٍ. And he's a giver of glad tidings. And he's a messenger who will come after me. His name is Ahmad. Very clearly in the scriptures, the word Ahmad is there. So even Anbiya alayhim salam of the past, they told their followers to follow Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Yes, but their followers, after the Nabi left this dunya, left this world, their followers distorted that message. Shaitan, he had a very, very great influence in changing that message, bringing about various powers in various areas. From different parts of the world they came and they were able to interject their own ideas and ideologies into those scriptures and those religions. A lot of the Greek mythology is there, you find. It has corrupted various religions. You find other ideologies that were mixed into the adyan and the religions of the past. But in every group, at every time, there was always a small group of believers that they believed in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they believed in the akhirah, and they knew what righteous deeds were. And they stuck to that pure path, the path of the Anbiya alayhim as-salam. Amongst the Christians, before the coming of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, there was a group of monks. They had isolated themselves from dunya, from this world. They had very, very soft hearts. They had very, very kind hearts. And even amongst them, that generation still continues today. There is still a group like that today. And they have very great sympathy to the Muslims. Don't think that, oh, the Christians hate Muslims. No. This is by a different system, known as Zionism, and that's a whole different ideology. But as far as the vast majority of the Christians, they don't hate Muslims or Islam in any way. You'll find small pockets that have hatred against everyone, even themselves. That's a different story. But the vast majority, they don't have hatred against Islam or Muslims in any way. In fact, they have very great respect. They know the history. They know in how many times throughout history Muslims came to the defense of the Christians. They protected the churches. The Muslims protected the churches even till today. Some of the very, very top and biggest churches in the world, even in Jerusalem, where they say that this was the birthplace of Isa alayhi salam, they have a church there in Bethlehem, Bayt al-Laham, or Bethlehem as they say. The main church, The key of that church is still in the hands of the Muslims for protection. There's a family, they have the key to that. And they take care of it, cleaning and taking care of it. The Muslims are doing. And the Christians, they appreciate. Don't think that they hate the Muslims. This is not. They have utmost respect for the Muslims. They knew that throughout history, whenever the Christians in any area were persecuted, they would turn to the Muslims for help. And the Muslims were ready to give that assistance to any mazloom, any person that is oppressed. Islam and Muslims have come to defend and protect the oppressed, not to help the oppressors. So even this reality is mentioned in the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran that وَلَتَجِدَنَّ أَقْرَبَهُمْ مَوَدَّةً لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا الَّذِينَ قَالُوا إِنَّا نَصَارَى. You will find those that have the greatest love and help and assistance to the believers are those who claim to be real Christians, genuine Christians. Not those that have all this shirk in them. The real Christians, you'll find they'll have great love and respect and even help and assistance they'll give to the Muslims. Why is this? ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّ مِنْهُمْ قِسِّيسِينَ وَرُهْبَانٍ وَأَنَّهُمْ لَا يَسْتَكْبِرُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that you'll find amongst them real monks. And you'll find amongst them people who have given up this world. They don't have arrogance. And that is why they have real deep love for the believers. So yes, they understand that even the system that they're following originally was Islam and Muslim. Even Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam so many times told them that he was a Muslim. So they believe in this. This should be made very, very clear. We should make this very clear in our minds. As far as amongst the Arab, before the coming of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, there was two adyan, two religions that were known. One was idolatry, worshipping the idols. And they had many, many different idols. Lat and Uzza and Manat and so many. Hundreds of idols. Even inside the Kaaba, Baytullah, they were full of idols. That was one group. There was another group that was on Tawheed. They used to be known as the people of the Deen Ibrahim. They were known as Qawm min Deen Ibrahim. That nation from the Deen of Ibrahim. And they used to say that, yeah, we worship Allah. They say we worship Allah. What was the name of the father of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam? What was his name? Abdullah. The Abd of Allah. These were the Qawm from Deen Ibrahim. They believed in one Allah. Yes, it was not the way that Ibrahim alayhi salam believed in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There were some distortions. They believed that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had created some creation that assisted him in helping him run the universe. And they worshipped those with the idols and they had their own ideas about that. But they believed there was only one being that deserved to be worshipped, and that was Allah. They knew about Allah. For those who are familiar even with the story of Abraha, when he came to destroy the Kaaba, and he took the camels and the sheep of the people. So the people came and they sent Abdul Muttalib, the grandfather of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that go and tell him to give back our animals. Abdul Muttalib came to him and said, give me back my camels and my sheep. Abraha said, I'm here to destroy your Kaaba and you're worried about your animals. He said, yes, the animals, they're my responsibility. The Kaaba, Allah will take care of that. You're making a big mistake. You just give me what's my responsibility. I don't need to worry about, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he'll take care of his house. And we know the whole story, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala dealt with Abraha and his army. But they believed in Allah. This should be made very clear. There were many amongst them. They were muwahhideen. They believed in the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But because for so long no Nabi had come, yes, it was a distorted belief. But at the end of the day, they did believe in one supreme power. They believed in the akhirah. They believed in rewards and punishment. It was not some alien idea. There were others that were staunch mushrik. There were many amongst them. They were staunch on worshipping idols. But there were a few, a small group. But they were even made in charge of taking care of the Kaaba, Baytullah, a small group. And they used to believe in the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's not that it was some alien idea that Islam came and there was no Islam at all. There were roots and pockets of the adyan of the previous Anbiya alayhim as-salam, they were there. Yes, it was lost, it was distorted, small groups People that history has not really documented very much about those groups, what were some of their dealings and how they had very, very great akhlaq. These people, they were famous for their prestige. They were known in the societies for their piety. They were not random people. They were very well known. That's why even amongst the Arab, they had a sense of prestige amongst them. Some of them, their akhlaq was so beautiful. They were famous for their akhlaq. They were famous for their character. Why did they have that kind of character? It came from the deen Ibrahim. From the deen of Ibrahim alayhi salam. And Ibrahim alayhi salam, he was very clear, muwahhid. He did not ever compromise on his deen. So there was a group that believed in him and followed that religion very, very strongly. So Islam was not some alien idea or ideology. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes clear in this ayah that إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, those who believed, even before Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam came, there was some who believed. And they were known, as I just told you, Deen Ibrahim. They were known as the believers, those who believe in the Deen of Ibrahim alayhi salam. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, definitely those who believe. وَالَّذِينَ هَادُوا, those who are Jews or of the Jewish tribes. وَالنَّصَارَى, those that are of the Christian belief. وَالصَّابِئِينَ, those that are Sabi'een, which were actually a group of those that followed the teachings of Sayyidina Dawood alayhi salam and the teachings of the Zabur. They had a portion of the Zabur with them. And they used to be known as the Sabi'een, those that adhered to the laws of Sayyidina Sulaiman alayhi salam and the laws of Sayyidina Dawood alayhi salam. They're a branch or an offshoot branch of even Christianity till today. There is one group amongst them. They consider themselves Christian now, part of the vast majority of Christians, but they have their own teachings and their own beliefs and they follow their own system. But before the coming of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, they were known as Sabi'een. Man amana billah, those who believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wal yawmil akhir, they believe in the hereafter. Very, very clear. To believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to believe in the hereafter. This was the main belief that all of the Anbiya alayhimus salam, they came with and taught their aqwam about this. وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا, they do righteous deeds, which was defined and outlined by the Anbiya alayhimus salam of the past. فَلَهُمْ أَجْرُهُمْ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ, for them, the reward is with their Rabb. وَلَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ, they'll have no fear on them and they'll have no grief. But what we also understand is that a point comes that even companies may consider what they make to be the final product. And they'll stop servicing or bringing up new updates for the previous products. You know what I'm talking about, cell phones. Huh? You have an iPhone 7, chances are you won't be able to find an update for it. You have to update. I saw a funny advertisement, said that Toyota has made a recall on every 1995 model of the Camry because the owners should have bought a new Camry by now, you know. So just they're known for their cars to last forever. But just a funny little ad. I'm just trying to share with you that point comes where even the companies, they ditch what is of the old. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created this system within us human beings so that we may be able to also understand the system that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created for us human beings. And that system of adyan is that the previous religions, they're obsolete. And no one will be accepted if they follow that deen or follow those adyan. It's very easy to understand. You have a child and he goes to school and they're going through various stages. They're taught many, many concepts that are old concepts. Many, many foundational concepts that are old concepts, because if you don't have those foundational concepts, you cannot understand the latest concept. You go to a computer science program, they'll start teaching you about computers, the abacus, which came out amongst the Chinese, the first computer, and then they'll start telling you about how those numbers work and how things are computed. And somebody says, you know what, I'm going to stick to the abacus system. I'll tell you, brother, that's long lost. You're trying to find the abacus, you're trying to reinvent the wheel, you know. Time has changed, computers have come, all these things are old, but we're only teaching you so you understand the foundational systems of how computers work and how technologies work. If you're going to stick to that system, only a foolish person will do something like this. Similarly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us the most complete deen. And He told us amongst the last few verses of the Quran that were revealed, or the last few revelations, Al-yawma akmaltu lakum deenakum, today we have completed your deen for you. Wa atmamtu alaykum ni'mati, I have perfected my favor on you. Wa raditu lakum al-islam deena, and I'm pleased that with Islam as your way of life, your deen, accept this deen. Because in other ayat of the Quran we're told, وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِي غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا فَلَنْ يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ. Anyone who brings any deen other than Islam, they'll never be accepted from them. Even though the previous religions, they may have come from some form of Islam, but now that Islam is completed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Himself promised to preserve that deen also. So anyone trying to follow any other system other than the deen of Islam in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never be accepted from them. Not only that, وَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. Those people in the hereafter, they'll be amongst the losers. This needs to be made very, very clear. There are some people who say, you see this ayah in Surat Baqarah, ayat number 62. And there are other verses in the Quran that says, you see those people who have previous religions, they're also, their reward is with their Rabb. This was before the coming of Islam. And the only application you might have of this is if there is some nation that doesn't have any access to even the known world we have today, and they're left simply to nature, and they believe in that kind of situation where there no da'wah has ever come to them, but in that situation they believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because if you leave this human being to his fitrah, to his nature, he'll believe in Allah. This common sense, even human common sense, will lead a person to the tawheed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When we start getting too technical, then we get lost, you know. You have some of these professors who are very top atheists. One of them, Richard Hawkins, he was trying to explain to a group of students, he was saying, you know, I have this concept that there was nothing and from nothing came something, and everybody started laughing at him, you know. Such a renowned professor, they have him on video, you know. He couldn't understand why they were laughing at him. They said, what are you talking about, you know? You take 0 plus 0 equals 0. You take 1 million zeros and add them up, you still get 0. Nothing is nothing. It has no power. It has to come from somewhere. Just the fact that we're here proves that there is one Allah. It started from somewhere. So this even human common sense will lead you to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when people are left to their fitrah, to their nature, and that is not corrupted, so they'll be guided, they'll follow. At least they'll know that there is one being that has created them. And they know that they have to be accountable, so they'll be very, very careful. In that kind of offshoot situation, then yes, we can say that this was a group that did not get any kind of da'wah. Their cases with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will deal with them. It's not up to us to judge them in any way. And there is a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam that speaks about their dealing, how they'll be dealt with in the akhirah. And I'm just paraphrasing the hadith, not the words, the exact words of the hadith. But it speaks about how these kind of people, they will come on the day of judgment. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring both of them, or He'll bring the group of them, and He'll tell them, go to Jahannam. So one group of this group will turn around and take off. They'll run straight to Jahannam, you know. And the other group, they'll turn around, they'll walk a little bit, stop, and then they'll look back. And then they'll take a few more steps, and they'll stop, and they'll look back. They'll keep doing this, you know. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring both groups and tell them, okay, what is this? That's the first group. Why did you take off running to Jahannam? You know, you went so fast. That group will say, oh Allah, in the dunya we didn't get any da'wah. And we knew that if we obey you, you will definitely, you know, have mercy on us. And we felt that it was our urgent need that we should obey you. The first time you've commanded us to do something and we heard your command, we wanted to carry it out as fast as possible. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, you're forgiven, go to Jannah. And you look at the other group, that what was wrong with you? I told you to go to Jahannam, you take a few steps and you look back. You take a few steps and you look back, what's wrong with you? They'll say, oh Allah, we heard that you're very merciful. So we took a few steps and we saw Jahannam, and we say, how can this be that you're so merciful and you'll let us go to Jahannam? So we look back, then maybe now you'll have mercy on us, you know. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, you have hope in my mercy. So yes, oh Allah. So okay, you also go to Jannah. You know? The case is very simple, simple-minded, you know, very simple people. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you have mercy on them. But it's not up to us to judge them that, oh, this person, he wasn't even Muslim. Who are we to? They did not get any da'wah, and no da'wah came to them. They had not heard of the deen of Islam. In the 21st century, it's extremely rare. Because after the events of 9/11, the deen of Islam has gone from north to south, east and west. We Muslims, we were very lazy in our da'wah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created a situation where the whole world found out about Islam. In this country, we tried to stay hidden, you know. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, this deen has not come to be hidden. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exposed us to everyone. Everywhere you go, even though you may 100% look like them, and 100% act like them, and even change your accent to sound like them, they can still smell the biryani off of you, okay? They know. This guy, you may try very, very hard to be one of them, but they know. Nothing they don't know. They can tell that this guy's not American. He's trying too hard, And those who are born here and raised here, we can quickly tell that, this person is not from here. And it's a reality. I don't know why we try so hard to blend in. We're Muslim. And that's not going to change. Our deen is first. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us understanding and give all of us the tawfiq to practice His deen. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغِ. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. اللهم نور قلوبنا بالقرآن وزين أخلاقنا بالقرآن ونجنا من النار بالقرآن وادخلنا في الجنة بالقرآن. اللهم اجعل القرآن لنا في الدنيا قرينا وفي القبر مونسا وعلى الصراط نورا وفي الجنة رفيقا ومن النار سترا وحجابا. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.